Alhamdulillah, wassalat, wassalamallah, wa rasulallah. Before we begin today's class, I just received some very sad news about one of my students from years ago from the Latina community. About 25 years ago, there was this social platform called MySpace. It was very popular. It was a social platform whereas Muslims would meet together and share information and all of this. And, back 25 years ago, I was teaching. I've been teaching since 86, and I was always trying to be the first I like to be the first to do everything. Just like I was the first to use voice technology to give the dawah, I wanted to be the first to do it on MySpace too. But I wasn't the first on MySpace. MySpace was very popular back then. It's a defunct program now that's not used for much of anything. But when I went on MySpace, I advertised our website, Sunnahfollowers, come here to learn Islam, introducing myself. And mashallah, I got a lot of response from the Latina community. Many of them were referred to me. For those of you who know Imam Latif Alamin out of New York, Imam Latif, many of them were from his community, his daughters, because my brother had married one of Imam Latif's daughters, Hawa. And they had a lot of friends, and they recommended them to come to learn from me. And I had us, y'all remember back then with the MySpace women, we had a lot of Latinas. I mean, my gosh, those women didn't know much about Islam, but I began to teach them and teach them and teach them, and they became some good, strong sisters. And one of them was a sister named Holly Garza. And I'll never forget her because I thought she was so beautiful. She looked so beautiful. And when she wearing a hijab, she looked even more beautiful. And I remember I used to tell her, for you to be Latina, where'd you get those green eyes? Because she had some type of green eyes or something that you don't find on Latino people. It's not common. And she was just so beautiful to me. And I loved her accent. She spoke with that, her Spanish accent. I used to love it. I used to love to hear her speak because her accent was so beautiful. And mashallah, the MySpace sisters ended up, going off to other directions. But I've always, kept an eye on her and a few of the other ones who still listen to me. She didn't. I don't think she listened, but she might have listened to me because she would send me emails every now and then. But they had moved on to other things. They got married. You know how marriage is, and blah blah, and kids and stuff. Well, I just received some news about 5 minutes ago that she died, and I'm like, what? They said she just died. I said, what do you mean? She was complaining that she couldn't breathe. She went to the hospital and she died. It was just all of a sudden. Well, I believe it was COVID, and most likely it was COVID. And this is why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters out there, y'all got to get those COVID shots, to get the vaccine, because the vaccine is not a cure, but it's a treatment. Like Allah says, he sends the treatment. It'll help you, especially people who have breathing problems, respiratory problems, people with asthma. And that. So anyway, I'm just kind of taken aback because I was looking at her Facebook page just a few days ago, because I always follow her and just to check on her and check on Habiba and a few other ones, and I'm in a state of shock. She went to the hospital complaining that she couldn't breathe, and well, that's COVID. Bottom line. So may Allah forgive Holly of her sins, and I know she loved her kids. May Allah forgive her of her sins, make her grave spacious, and may she be amongst the righteous, in paradise. I'll never forget her because of those eyes. She had these beautiful color eyes that you don't see on Latinas. I want everyone listening to me, please understand that there is no conspiracy. Power. The power belongs to Allah. Allah tells us in the Quran that He is the one that sends sickness. Diseases, sicknesses come from Him. They don't come from some laboratory of some white man or some Chinese man eating bats and creating stuff. Allah is the creator of all things good and evil. We have to understand that. And Allah says He's the creator of virus. He's the creator of sickness. And if He wants to spread it through the earth, He has the jinn that fly through the earth. They spread it on their wings. He said, but understand, I never send a virus. I never send a sickness without sending a treatment too. So take my treatment and maybe I'll send a cure. Ain't no cure for COVID because ain't nobody taking the treatment. You guys better get up and take those vaccines. The vaccines don't cure you. They tell you it's a treatment. It helps you to not get as sick. So if you come in contact with somebody who has the COVID, like I did before, but mine wasn't COVID. They say they don't know what I had. Remember when I was sick last month? I thought it was the COVID. It wasn't COVID. But if you do come in contact with somebody with the COVID, your body can fight it off better. Please, guys, don't think everything's a conspiracy. Nothing can harm you. Nothing can benefit you unless Allah allows it. He's the one that makes it happen. He's the one that sets the scenarios in place. Don't no human being have power over you. No human being has the ability to do anything to you unless Allah allows it. Y'all understand that? Obey Allah. Do what Allah says. I don't know if Holly had the vaccine or not. Po baby. Subhanallah. But may Allah forgive her of her sins. I'm just in shock. We have to take life more serious, guys. Death can come knocking on your door at any moment. You could be sitting here right now listening to me, driving in your car, pull up at a stoplight to stop, waiting for light to turn green, and somebody run into you and it's over. You never know. It sneaks up on us. You don't want to go out of here in a bad situation. Subhanallah. So it's important for all of us, as Muslims, to take life more serious, to live each day as if it were our last day on earth. If we looked at each day as our last day here, then we'd be prepared for it. How do you prepare for death? The prophet said by living each day as if it were your last. Because if you thought it was your last day, you do all the deeds that are pleasing to Him. You spend that day doing what's pleasing to Allah. So should the angel of death come to you, you go willingly. And inshallah, I pray that my sister Holly went willingly. Subhanallah. May Allah forgive her of her sins. May Allah make her grave spacious, and may she be amongst the green birds flying around the throne of Allah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Subhanallah. So with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started on the class for today. This is our Ramadan prep series. I do this every year. 10 days or so before Ramadan, we go over, just the basic rulings of Ramadan, of fasting, the virtues of Ramadan, to try to geek you up, to try to get you in the mood to fast, to try to get you to not look at Ramadan as being an oppressive month like many Muslims are doing right now. Right now, there are many Muslims on the internet who are looking for excuses, shopping for fatwas that will allow them to break their fast because they don't want to fast. Can you believe that? But that's what's happening. I've already received numerous emails from people making up sicknesses for themselves, asking me, Sister Layla, I got asthma. Can I go without fasting this month? I mean, come on. A lot of weak Muslims dread this month, the month of Ramadan. This is the most sacred month of the year for us. Why? Because it's the month of change. It's the month of forgiveness. You looking for that second chance in life? It only comes around during Ramadan, guys, because Allah is more forgiving during this month than any other time of the year. And this month holds that one night that's better than 1,000 months, which is the night of decree. Subhanallah, you shouldn't be looking for an excuse out of fasting. Allah has given us excuses to not fast. For example, for those of us who are chronically ill, they don't have to fast. Instead, they pay the ransom. For those of us who are traveling, we don't have to fast. We make the days up later. For those women who are afflicted with a high-risk pregnancy, they don't have to fast. They pay the ransom too. So Allah has given the excuses to those who are deserving of them. But if you're a person that's not deserving of an excuse to not fast, you better fear Allah. Because fasting is what's going to make you a better person. Fasting this is the month of change, people. So you need to stop shopping for fatwas to get out of fasting. And instead tell your personal jinn to go sit down in a corner because you're going to stop drinking. You're going to use this month to stop smoking cigarettes. By the way, I got a lot of smokers out there. Been there, done that. Ramadan, this is the best time to kick that habit because Allah is so merciful. He made it easy for the smoker to quit smoking. All you got to do is go out and buy some Nicoderm patches and follow the Nicoderm plan. And most insurances cover it. Most insurances cover the Nicoderm patch. Do y'all know that? Because that's a 30-day plan. If you follow that plan, you will, at the end of Ramadan, have kicked that habit. A lot of Muslims I know have kicked the habit of smoking by doing the Nicoderm plan during Ramadan. Because you can wear those patches. They do not break your fast. Nicoderm patches do not break, nicotine patches do not break the fast. It will slowly, as you follow the plan each day, you will decrease the nicotine without withdrawal. By the end of Ramadan, on the day of the Eid, you'll go to the Eid without your patch on, and you'll be like, wow, I partied and didn't even have a desire for a cigarette. You'll be over that habit. So for those of you who are smokers, because that's what's going on, I know the game. A lot of you are smokers. And you're panicking. You're going crazy because you can't go without smoking a cigarette for 12 hours. The nicotine high. The nicotine high only lasts 15 minutes. That's a proven fact. And by the way, nicotine is a drug. That's why smoking is haram. Nicotine is the same as marijuana. It's an addictive drug. It's easier to kick the habit of cocaine than it is to kick the habit of nicotine. That's why you see people going to rehab. They come out cocaine crack free, but they still smoking. The nicotine is harder to kick. It's a drug. That's why smoking is haram. It's an intoxicant. It makes you high. That high you get when you smoke that cigarette when you first wake up. That high you get from smoking after eating. That high you get from smoking after relations. It's an addictive drug. Okay? It's like alcohol. It's an intoxicant. That's why it's haram. It's an intoxicant. And Allah says all intoxicants are haram. As Umar broke it down, anything that befogs the brain is an intoxicant, and all intoxicants are haram. So for you smokers, you are the ones that's running around looking for an excuse to get out of fasting. Well, you better take advantage of Ramadan and make this Ramadan your excuse to kick that nasty, filthy habit that most people don't even do anymore because it stinks. And for those of you who vape, the same thing. Vaping is haram too. Kick that nasty, filthy habit that vaping leads to you smoking weed and crack. So stop shopping for fatwas to disobey Allah and instead train your jinn to obey Allah. Okay? There are no excuses unless you fall in the category of a person who's excused by Allah. Allah makes the excuses for people, not us. We don't have the authority or the power to excuse you from your obligations. Only Allah has that authority. Only Allah has that power. Do you guys understand that? And yesterday when we met, we talked about how one of the number one reasons as to why people are so quick. They're so quick to try to get out of fasting or look for an excuse to not fast is because they simply just don't understand the virtues of fasting. There are many, many virtues of fasting. If they knew the virtues, then they would be like the companions. They would be people who look forward to this sacred month. So what I'm going to do, I gave you guys a quiz. I posted it up on Facebook, and I also posted it up on YouTube and other social platforms. Let's see how you guys can answer these questions from yesterday's lecture when we spoke about the virtues. Wrong camera. Hold on. We spoke about the virtues of fasting. Let me go to my screen. Hold on. This needs to go down. Okay, now let me screen share you. I'm going to learn how to upload to my thing, that thing too, because I forgot I can upload on the other thing. Okay, everybody look at my screen here, inshallah. You should be able to see the quiz. I'm going to make it larger. You know, we got a bunch of old sisters here who can't see. Here we go. Can y'all see the screen a little better? Let me make it a little bigger. Uh-oh, that's a little bit too big. Okay, let's look at this first question here. Why? Who can tell us why is the fast for Allah, but our prayers or anything else is not solely for Him? Who can explain what that hadith means and why? Go ahead, Sister Lucy.
The fast for Allah is a sacrifice for Him. Everything else, the prayers and all that other stuff, is for us. You know, we fast for Him because we're sacrificing our food, our time, and all that. But when we do our regular prayer and stuff, that's for us to get closer to Allah. But when we fast, it is saying that we are here and we want to sacrifice what we have for you.
Okay, what do you guys think about her answer? Is there anyone that has something else to say or disagrees with her answer? What do you guys think? And let me look in let me use my other phone. Hold on for YouTube. Because when I go into the YouTube chat thing, it takes me to a strange place. It gets me like, what is this? Hold on, let me log in on my other phone. Hold on for YouTube. I want to see their answers too. Oh, no, not Google. I want YouTube. There. Anybody in the Zoom room? What do you guys think while I'm waiting on the... Oh, there they are. Oh, no, not Google. I want YouTube. Any answers on YouTube? Walaikum salam, Sister Sima Moore. Okay. Mashallah, her answer was good. This is what that means. She explained it pretty well. Okay. The fast entails a lot of sacrificing. We're giving up our food, our drink, our comfort and stuff for Allah. Fasting, prayer brings more benefit to us. Prayer is nothing except just remembering Allah. It's for us. If we can stop what we're doing during the day to remember Allah, this is all for our benefit. This is all for us. Okay? Allah is not in need of our prayers. We are in need of them. Okay? We are in need of them in order to get closer to Allah. But the fast is different. You're putting yourself through some hardship for Allah. You're struggling for Him. You're enduring hunger, thirst, fatigue, bad breath, and all of that for Him, where you don't have to make no sacrifices to pray, except take 5 minutes, out of your job to go do a prayer, another 5-minute break to do another. That's it. Does everybody understand? So that's what that hadith is speaking about. Good job, Sister Lucy. Okay, let's look at question number 2. We talked about yesterday that there are 2 things that will intercede for us on the day of judgment. What do we mean by intercede? And what are those 2 things? Who can answer this? Who can answer that? What are the 2 things that will intercede for you on the day of judgment? And what do we mean by intercede? People in Zoom, let's see those answers. Get those hands up. We're not going to have that one sister answering all your questions. I want to hear from the rest of you. Brother Shuaib, or which I think is Rockmo. Rockmo, what 2 things will intercede for a person on the day of judgment? And what does it mean when we say they'll intercede? Go ahead. Okay, Sister Latifa, what 2 things will intercede for a person on the day of judgment? And what do we mean by intercede? Go ahead, Latifa.
Okay. What we mean by intercede is that they will speak up for you on that day. And the 2 things that will intercede for you is fasting, and it will say, I kept him from eating and drinking. And the other one is the Quran will intercede for you.
Okay, and what would they be speaking up for you to do? What for what? What reason? What is it that they trying to get Allah to not do or whatever? You left out the important thing. Why is it important to have somebody intercede on the day of judgment?
Not sure what else to say about that.
Oh, Latifa.
I got that far.
Why is it important to have why we talked about this yesterday in our series on the day of judgment? Why is it important to have what do I need somebody to intercede for me for on the day of judgment? This is simple, guys. What do we want people to intercede for us for? Go ahead, Jamila.
To intercede would be like to keep you from going to hellfire.
Yeah, that's the reason. Intercede means to ask, to speak on your behalf to prevent you from being thrown in hell, Latifa. What is it that we don't want to happen? We don't want to be in hell. We want to go to paradise. So you want as many people or as many things to plead with Allah for you. Oh, Allah, don't throw her in hell. You're going to want people to say, oh Allah, she did this for me. She did that for me. Don't throw her in hell. You want your deeds to intercede. Oh Allah. And that's what the fast is, your deed. Oh Allah, she fasted the month of Ramadan out of sincerity for you, seeking your reward, wanting the best from you. Please don't throw her in hell, Allah. She's a good person. The Quran, oh Allah, she struggled to try to say the instead of ah. She put up with Layla Nashiba, being harsh with her, trying to get her to open up her mouth and say ah instead of ah. Please, Allah, don't throw her in hell. All that's what intercede means. Intercede means that these things will beg and plead to Allah. Don't put her in hell. Let her go to paradise. If we think about it like that, then that'll encourage you to kick that smoking habit, brothers. I got a couple of brothers that sent me some emails about that smoking. Talking about that's their struggle. I got the new Shahada group here. Brother Abdul. Yeah, he's in there. I see you. Wait a minute. Yeah. Abdul, I'm telling you, go out and get some Nicoderm patches and start now. The Nicoderm patch, you got a job, your insurance should pay for it. I know, because I used to work and I know what insurances do. I worked for this government here where I live, and they wanted everybody to kick that habit. Made it illegal to smoke in government places. And I know they made sure that the insurances cover Nicoderm patches. And they also have smoke cessation classes. Most companies have smoke cessation classes too. Take advantage of that, because even the government wants people to quit smoking because it's dangerous. People are dying. Children are being born with respiratory problems because their parents smoked. Okay, so check your insurance plan. They have smoke cessation stuff, and that Nicoderm patch program works. It's expensive, but your insurance will cover it. Okay? Don't sit there and let Shaitan make you a drug addict, because that's what a smoker is. You're just a nicotine addict. You know what crackhead is? You a Nickhead. Oh yeah, you a Nickhead. So we have to kick that habit. You don't want to be a Nicky head. Okay? All right, good job on that answer there. Let's look at the next question. So, another reason why a lot of Muslims don't look forward to Ramadan, we talked about it. A lot of Muslims don't look forward to Ramadan. They panic and want a way out of it because they don't understand what's the purpose of fasting. We went over the purpose of fasting. Why is it that Allah made fasting an obligation for us? Who can answer that question? I'm looking at YouTube too. YouTube? Any answers there? Why? What is the purpose of us fasting? Why is fasting for an obligation for us? Why do we fast? Anyone want to answer that question? Why do we fast? Wa alaikum salam, life. Why do we fast? No hands up here in the Zoom room. Every Muslim on this planet should know that answer. Every Muslim on the planet Earth should know why we fast. Why do we fast, Sister Shukri? MashaAllah, Shukri's here. Shukri, can you tell them why we fast? Let them know. I know Shukri knows the answer anyway. Should have called on somebody else. Tell them why we fast. Yeah.
We fast to become better, righteous people.
Exactly. I should have called on somebody else. I just realized that Shukri know that answer anyway. Yes, guys, we fast. Allah tells us in the Quran that fasting was prescribed for you just as it was prescribed for everyone that came before you, to make you a righteous person, to make you a better person. This is why Ramadan is the month of change. Why is it the month of change? Because I have another opportunity to change myself. Subhanallah. I can kick that habit of smoking. I can kick that filthy habit of drinking alcohol. I can let that marijuana go. I have another chance to change the condition of myself to that which is pleasing to Allah. So that's why Allah prescribed fasting for us to recognize what our weaknesses are. That's what we do. And by the way, guys, I want you to stick with me every day from here until the end of Ramadan, because inshallah, we will get through Ramadan together. Every day you will see growth. You should see, if you follow the plan of Allah, the sunnah of the prophet, you fast the way the companions did, which is what I'm going to be teaching you and we're going to be doing here together every day. You should see the growth each day. When you come to this class, you take those quizzes, you'll see the growth. You'll become more geeked up for the classes. You'll participate in all my classes here because I'm going to try to keep this open, streaming 24 hours. You will feel the growth, inshallah, because that's why Allah imposed this on us. You'll recognize your weaknesses, get rid of them, and you'll also recognize your strengths and you'll work on them. You'll work them. That's why Ramadan is prescribed. That's why fasting this month is prescribed. By the end of these 28 days, 28 to 29 days, you should be a better human being, a better Muslim, a better mother, a better father, a better brother, sister, a better employee, a better co-worker, boss, and all of that. Okay? Let's look at the next question. Question number 4. Now, I threw this in here to see how many of you pay attention. Which fast that we fast as Muslims, there's other fasts too. Which of the fasts that we do during the year are obligations? What fasts are we obligated to fast? Because we do other fasting too. Which fast? Who can tell me which of the fasts are obligations? Oh, mashallah, the Bint Muhammads are here. Sister Rashida, I was dreamed about you last night. Go ahead.
Mashallah. Sister Lynn, I'll be on YouTube too. I've been answering questions and everything on YouTube and on Facebook.
What's your name on YouTube?
Rashida.
I don't see Rashida.
No, I'm sorry. I was in my son's account.
It was in
my son's account. But it's Rashida on Facebook.
Yeah, I know, but what's this? What is it on YouTube?
I forgot. It's my son's account. But
yeah, because I see some.
Parentheses.
I see a Ken K somebody. I see a Life somebody. I see a bunch of names I don't know, but I can tell that they my students because okay, but okay, y'all use different names on YouTube. Okay, that's okay. Give the answers to them. Go ahead.
The only fast we're obligated to fast is during the month of Ramadan.
Okay, do you guys agree with her answer? What do y'all think? People on YouTube. We got a lot of people on YouTube. What do y'all think? Facebook, what do you think? Here's the challenge. You got the Zoomies, you got the Faces, and you got the Tubies. And I got the Twitter people. I'm sorry, I don't have my computer opened on Twitter. Okay, Brother Musa on YouTube agrees with you too. And so does Sakina. Okay, all of you are correct. I was hoping I could get somebody to say, Arafat. But they didn't. You guys knew better. Okay, mashallah. And that's why I threw that in there. Because I got an email yesterday, a text message from one of the little kids asking me, Sister Layla, is fasting Arafat an obligation? Well, there's your answer, sweetheart. No, we're not obligated to fast Arafat. Okay, it's a good thing to do, but is it an obligation? No. In fact, we went over the Hadith yesterday where the Bedouin man had just converted to Islam. And he said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, I just converted to Islam. Tell me, what do I have to do in regards to fasting?" And the Prophet said, "You only have to fast the month of Ramadan." The man said, "Do I have to do any other fast?" He said, "No, unless you want to." And that man also asked him, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, tell me what is expected of me in regards to prayer." The Prophet said, "You only have to pray Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha." The man said, "Do I have to pray any other prayers?" The Prophet said, "No." And then the man said, "Well, I will spend the rest of my life just doing those things." And he walked away. And the Prophet said, "If he does just those things, you have just met a man of paradise." So that hadith is authentic. And that hadith is the dalil that not only do we not have to fast Arafat, Ashura, or any other voluntary fast, we don't have to pray the voluntary prayers either. The Sunnah prayers are not obligations. They're good to do. We encourage you to do. But you don't have to get up and pray the night prayer. You don't have to pray the winter prayer. You don't have to pray the Sunnahs of Dhuhr. But we encourage it. Okay, so I want y'all to let the children know that. I'm going to tell you why. Because I grew up Muslim too. My stepfather was strict and my mother was strict on me. They used to make us wake up in the middle of the night and do tahajjud. Okay, and that's why I think I'm a night owl. Because y'all, I think that's how I I told my mother, I think that's why I'm a night person. Because I knew that if I went to sleep, my stepfather was going to come in and wake us up and at 3 a.m. say, "It's time to get up and do tahajjud." So I would just stay up all night. I would be like, what's the point in going to sleep to be woken up? And then I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep and wake up for school. So I would just stay up all night reading. I would stay up all night reading by the moonlight, because I knew that my stepfather was going to come in there and wake me up at 3 a.m. and I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep for school. Because if I went to sleep, I wouldn't want to wake up for school. I'd sleep all day in class. So I think that's why I'm a night person, and you don't want to do that to the kids, guys, really, because it's bad for them, so encourage your kids to pray the Sunnah prayers, but don't be so rigid and force them. If they're doing that Fajr, that Dhuhr, that Asr, that Maghrib, and Isha, alhamdulillah. But don't make it so hard on them. My stepfather also made us do the Sunnah prayers. When I made Dhuhr, I had to pray those 4 rakats before and those 2 rakats after. Okay? He made us do the Sunnahs and the regular prayer. I think that was a little bit too much. Okay? And the night prayer. Okay, so be a little bit easy on the kids, guys. Be a little easy on them, and let them know that as long as they're doing those 5 prayers every day, they're in good standing with Allah. But if they want to get even closer to Him, throw in some of those sunnahs. Teach them like that. You guys got it? Yeah, teach them like that. You don't want to be too harsh on the kids. You end up making somebody like me can't sleep at night because I'm afraid I have to wake up and make a prayer. Now I stay up all night. Okay, let's look at the next question. Number 5. I gave you the history of Ramadan. What fast did the Ramadan fast replace? Can anybody remember that? What fast did the Ramadan fast replace? Go ahead, Sister Jamila.
The month of Ashur.
Was the Ashur a month?
Ashur. Oh, it replaced the Ashur when they was fasting.
Yes, the day of Ashur. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I got an email from one of the brothers thanking me for that because he said he didn't know that. And it's right there in Bukhari, in Muslim. Yes. Yeah, the Ramadan fast replaced the fast of Ashura. Before Ramadan, all those hadiths that y'all read about the virtues of the day of Ashura, all those hadiths are authentic, every single one, because that's the fast the Muslims used to do until Allah sent down the command for Ramadan. And that's why that other hadith where the prophet speaks about teaching the people Tawheed and the prayers and teaching them that they got to pay zakat and make hajj. A lot of people say, why wasn't Ramadan mentioned? Ramadan wasn't sent down as an obligation at that time. It came down as an obligation later. Okay, before Ramadan, the Muslims did Ashura. That's why we got all those virtues of fasting day of Ashura. But after Ramadan, I told you guys, the companions and a couple of brothers sent me emails, a couple of the imams. They said, Sister Layla, I never knew that. But I found it. You're right. They did say they never fasted Ashura again. I said, I told you, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar and them, they say we never, none of the original companions, we never fasted Ashura again after Ramadan. I don't know why y'all don't know that. The hadiths are there. It's authentic. Yeah, that's why you got to learn those hadiths, brothers. You got to learn those hadiths, dude. That's one thing that my imam, y'all know Imam Mutawaf, he specified that. Y'all know that. He wasn't all about that Arabic. That's Mukhtar's father. He was my imam. He wasn't all about that Arabic, but he was rigid on those hadiths. He was rigid on that sunnah. Y'all see that now, don't y'all? How it pays off. I'm an example. Can't tell you nothing about the Arabic language, but I can tell you those hadiths. I can explain those verses of the Quran. I can tell you the history of Islam. Look at Mukhtar. Mukhtar can run it down. We can tell y'all all about those companions. Hello. Yeah, Imam Mutawaf, may Allah bless him. He specified that. Wasn't all about that Arabic. Okay? But the brothers emailed me. They said, we found it. You're right. Didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, but all those hadiths about Ashura are all authentic. And you do get blessings for fasting Ashura. If you want to still fast, alhamdulillah, because fasting is for Allah. It's a good thing to do. Okay, but it was replaced. Ashura was replaced with something better. What's better than Ashura? The month of Ramadan. Much more reward. And I have to emphasize that and stress that because right here, sitting here on social media, there are a bunch of Muslims here, Muslim women who have not yet made up their fast of Ramadan. But they fasted the day of Ashura. Oh, yeah. They made a big deal out of that. That's how Shaitan dupes us. He'll make us put emphasis on the things we don't have to do and neglect the things that we do have to do. Y'all got that? So you sisters better get up off y'all's behinds. Those fasts of Ashura don't mean nothing until you do Ramadan. Complete your Ramadan. All right, let's look at the next question. Good job, Jamila. Next question. In order for the sins to be forgiven during the month of Ramadan, what must not have occurred? This is something that a lot of Muslims miss. Whenever we speak about forgiveness of sins, whenever we speak about the virtues of anything, it's conditional. What is the condition of getting the reward of Ramadan? What is the condition of getting things accepted? Come on, who can remember that? I'm trying not to get an answer away. If you want to walk away from Ramadan with all your sins forgiven, it's conditional upon what? Every Muslim on this planet should know that answer. Let's get them hands up. If you don't know it, something's wrong. And by the way, if you like to join us in the Zoom room, that's what that is. Go to www.sunnahfollowers.net. Our Zoom room is open 24 hours. Yeah, everybody see that? That's that little ticker that's going around there. Feel free to join us here, in the Zoom room. Okay? All right, so what is the condition? Okay, let's see. We got a sister Sakina said, if you want your fast of Ramadan to be accepted, we must have fulfilled all other obligations. That's true, but that's not the answer I'm looking for. What forgiveness of sins will occur as long as what? Go ahead, Sister Samira. Oh, not Samira. Was that her hand? Samira's hand up? No. Rockmo. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Samira. Go ahead. I see you.
You have to not do the sin again. If you ask for forgiveness, you can't repeat the sin.
No, that's the wrong answer. Let's see. Sister Rockmo. In order for your Ramadan to be accepted and you walk away free from sin, what's the condition? Rockmo, go ahead.
You cannot be committing major sins.
Exactly. That's the condition, guys. You can't still be smoking them cigarettes, in other words. Do you brothers get that? Because I'm going to tell you what some people do. They fast the month of Ramadan. They'll at nighttime when we break the fast, they smoke them cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes is haram because nicotine is an intoxicant. You know it's haram because I told you it's haram. You know it's haram because you done read in the Quran where Allah says all intoxicants are haram. So what is the point in fasting if you're going to break your fast with a cigarette, with alcohol? That's what it is. Crack, cocaine, marijuana. You just starved yourself. So if you want your fast to be accepted and all your sins forgiven, the condition is you cannot be indulging in other sins. You cannot intentionally, deliberately, knowingly be committing other sins because that's what a major sin is. A major sin is to knowingly disobey Allah. So if you smoking them cigarettes, I'm sorry, you going to walk away for Ramadan with no reward. You drinking alcohol, you having sex out of wedlock, you smoking marijuana, you lying, you cheating, you're stealing. You're going to walk away just starved yourself. Everybody understand that? So that's the condition. That's the condition. Good job, Sister Rockmo. Okay, let's look at, hit the wrong. I got to work this camera right. Hold on. Screen, go to this one. Ready? Go. Okay, let's look at the next question. Number 7. What happens if a person refuses to fast the month of Ramadan? Or you break your fast during the month of Ramadan without a valid excuse? What happens then? Say, for example, you just don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'm going to go break my fast. Go ahead, Sister Sabrine.
Those who refuses to fast because they don't want to fast, or they break their fast for no reason, they just want to break it, they're the same as an alcoholic, a drunk, or an addict, or a fornicator. They're on the same level as that.
What you guys think about her answer? You guys agree with her answer? Brother Musa said, okay. Yeah, good job, Musa and Sarah, for the other question. What you guys think of her answer? Is her answer correct? Anybody disagree? Mashallah, her answer is correct. In fact, they're worse. You are worse than a fornicator. Good job. You are worse than an adulterer. You are worse than an LGBTQTPS. You are worse than them people. That's a horrific sin, guys. So I want you guys to stress this with the children too. You let the children know you go in the closet and sneak and eat you some cereal. This is that's worse than being a crackhead. If you go to school and eat you some food in school when you know you ain't supposed to, you worse than a murderer. Subhanallah. We have to be careful with that, guys. That's why it's all about geeking ourselves up. The companions, that lecture that Abu Usama at-Tahabi gave the other day was so beautiful. He talked about how the companions prepared for Ramadan. I'm going to play it again tonight. By the way, I'm going to play that lecture after this class for those of you, so you guys can hear it again. For those of you who missed it, Abu Usama at-Tahabi, Sheikh Abu Usama, he gave a wonderful lecture talking about how the companions prepare. They would look forward to it. They would review, just like we're doing now. They would talk about the virtues. They would review the benefits and virtues of fasting to get their hearts pumping. And it's important that we do this with our children as a family. When you guys sit down to dinner with your husband, and I hope that's what you guys are doing. We're going to talk about that too before Ramadan. Being a real family. When you cook dinner and you and your children and your husband sit down to eat, geek each other up about Ramadan. Share with them what you learning here with me. Teach your children and husbands the virtues of fasting, the benefits of it, to get their hearts pumping so they're looking forward to it, so they can put their personal gens at rest and not be trying to sneak and break the fast. Okay? Okay, let's look at the next question. What about this? We talked about this yesterday. Can Muslims choose whether to go with a local sighting instead of a global? Because this has become the norm today in America. Nowadays, every Ramadan, I hear brothers, other famous speakers who I found out are mostly all belonging to that Mu'tazila set, Qadarians. But, a lot of famous speakers here in America, they will tell you it's okay. You can choose whether to have a global sighting or go with a local sighting of the new moon. Is this correct, guys? Is that the way we do it? We choose to say, well, I'm not going to take the testimony of anyone in the world. We're going to do a local sighting this year. Can we choose that or not? Go ahead, Amina.
No, that was done back in the time when the Sahabas was fighting about trying to just, whoever that man was, he didn't want to follow Muawiyah because he would look like he was going to be with him. But now it's no reason to do that. We go with the most perfect, the one that's most. Anyway, no.
Okay. What you got to say, Sahara? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that you go by a trusted person, their local sighting.
Any Dalio? I'm not hearing nobody mention
one about Ali, but I don't really know.
I'm not hearing none of y'all. Y'all supposed to be Layla Nashiba students. We all about the Dalil. It's all about that base. Hello. Where's the Dalil? What did the Prophet say do? Y'all don't remember no hadiths about what the Prophet said about how the Ramadan begins and ends? Silence, crickets. My God, what's wrong with you Muslims today? Y'all don't know nothing about the Sunnah? Mayleon? Go ahead.
I was going to say we go with a global sighting. The Prophet ﷺ told us that if any reliable Muslim saw the moon, he has seen it for the rest of the world.
Hello, that's the hadith. The Prophet Muhammad didn't say that you can choose to look for wherever you want. The Prophet ﷺ said any reliable, trustworthy Muslim that sees the moon has seen the moon for the entire nation. That's what your Prophet said. sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we got other hadiths too that we getting ready to get to. So this is a bid'ah. Bid'ah alert. Bid'ah alert. And Sheikh Atlee speaks about this every Ramadan. You know, that's the bid'ah man. He's the one that calls them out. Sheikh Atlee's been talking against this since I've known him. I mean, I've been teaching on the internet since 1986. All his every Ramadan, he goes through the same thing. What's wrong with you people? Why are we not following the Sunnah of the Prophet? Did the Prophet tell the companions to do local sightings? No. Anyone who has seen the moon, who is reliable and trustworthy, has seen the moon for this whole nation. We got a hadith. Whereas the prophet and the people were fasting. Some riders came in from this direction of Syria. And they asked the prophet, why are you fasting? We already seen the moon. The prophet ordered the people to break their fast. That hadith is authentic. So what is wrong with you Muslims today that you have innovated into this religion? And you have incorporated into this deen that a people can choose to go with the Lord. I never forget last Ramadan. Last Ramadan was depressing how it began because these so-called scholars, who ain't scholars in my book, because if you a scholar, you wouldn't dare put out a fatwa that goes against what the prophet said. These so-called fatwa committees from these different countries, the fatwa committee of this, the fatwa committee of this country, that country, you guys, they put out fatwas talking about we have elected to go with a local sighting this year. We have elected to only accept the sighting of these countries this year. Based on what? Is that what the prophet said to do? Then we have people here in America talking about, oh, well, it's okay. Just make your own choice. Do your thing, baby. Just do your thing. Oh, astaghfirullah. You deviants. You're going to deviate away from the way of the prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Muslims today are so twisted, they don't know the hadiths. In fact, I had a young Muslim man, an Arabic man, come up in my Zoom room last week. He didn't know the difference, didn't know what a hadith was. He comes and brings me a fatwa talking about yoga, that it's haram to do yoga. How ridiculous. And I told him, where's the hadith that says a person can't exercise? I got the fatwa. I told him, do you know what a hadith is? It's just a statement. He said a hadith is a statement. Can you believe? And this was an Arabic boy, an Arabic man, rather. He claimed he was 33 years old. An Arabic man who doesn't know what a hadith is. They living off of fatwas, and you fatwa committees are issuing all these ridiculous statements that go against the sunnah. You're going to tell people that we can choose to do a local sighting. That ain't what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us or came with. He said, whoever, long as it's a reliable source, any reliable, trustworthy person that says he has seen the moon, we accept that he's seen the moon for all of us. Does everybody understand that? So when y'all hear this fitna start next week, you're going to see people saying, we've decided to go with a low. Even like here in America, you might see a fatwa from New York. The Muslims in New York have decided we'll go with a local sighting. Then you will see within New York, those of us in Brooklyn, we're going to go with the global sighting. Those of us in the Bronx, we doing local. This is not the sunnah. This ain't the prophet didn't tell you people to do that. The companions didn't do that nonsense. Abu Bakr didn't do that nonsense. He didn't tell the Muslims as Islam spread throughout the territories. He didn't tell them to go choose whether you want a local or global sighting. When Umar was the caliph, he didn't tell the Muslims, choose what you want. When Uthman and Ali and them were the caliph, they didn't say, North Africa, y'all can choose whether you want a global sighting. Shams, y'all can choose here. They didn't do this. This is bid'ah. This is an innovation. This is not Islam, guys. And you brothers got to stop telling people the opposite. You famous men out there, because see, nobody wants to listen to the woman here. I'm Layla Nashiba. I'm a woman. I've been doing this longer than all those men y'all listening to. But no one listens to me. I'm the one that they all hate. Don't listen to her. She's a witch. Don't listen to her. She makes up hadiths. I don't make up nothing. That's why I use PowerPoint so you can see it. It ain't my fault you're stupid and didn't learn the hadiths. I don't know who y'all's teachers were. It ain't my fault that you stupid. I don't make up anything. I got my PowerPoint and I always give the source to prove it, like I'm doing in this series. Subhanallah, you brothers of the dawah, y'all got to stop lying. Stop innovating this religion. Stop sugarcoating Islam. Stop telling Muslims they can choose to do a local sighting. That is not Islam. That is wrong. And you men, and with these fatwas, y'all gonna answer to Allah for that. Because you pulling the people away from the traditional Islam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this nation will divide into over 73 sects. All of them will be in the hellfire except the one who sticks to the traditional Islam. He said, and what is traditional Islam? Traditional Islam is what I and my companions and those first 4 after me are upon. I guess I made that hadith up too, huh? Stop lying to the people just so you can get numbers and be famous. Stop lying. Teach Islam correctly or stand down. Stand down. If you don't stand down in this world, you're going to be wishing you stood down in that grave, because you're going to be standing in that hellfire with your guts spilled out so the world can see what a liar you were. Telling the people to go with a local sighting. That ain't Islam. Subhanallah. That ain't the Sunnah. And that brings us to the next question. Here it is. Bam. Who can tell me, how did this local sighting begin and why? I gave y'all the hadith yesterday. A couple of the imams thanked me. They said, Sister Layla, it's right there in the books like you said. Why did we not know this? You didn't have a good teacher. Who did I learn from, guys? My teacher's name is Abu Atayib. Google him. And also Sheikh Karadari. May Allah forgive him of his sins. Google him. Also Sheikh Umar al-Ashgar. May Allah forgive him of his sins. Those were my teachers. Google them. They're real scholars. They ain't these J-bladed American LGBTQ supporting people with these made up online schools. So now, that's where I learned the meaning of these hadiths from. And may Allah bless Sheikh Morsi and preserve him, because I'd be lost without him today, because he's the only one still living who can break them hadiths down. He's a real scholar of the Quran, of the Arabic, and of the hadith. Subhanallah. He was friends with Sheikh Albani. He was friends with Sheikh Uthaymeen and Sheikh bin Baz. Sheikh Morsi's old, but mashallah, his mind is good. May Allah bless him for me not being ignorant like these men today are. So now, who can explain, my students who I taught it to, where did this local sighting begin and how? What happened? How did this local sighting come up? Can anybody share the history with these famous men out there who are going to be issuing fatwas next week telling y'all you can look for a local sighting. Who would like to give us the story? Somebody better give it so when I die, you sisters can carry it on. Where's Pfizer? Where's Isra? Mayleon, get on that mic.
Okay. So the local sighting was only done once, and it was done when Ibn Abbas was the governor of Medina. Ibn Abbas chose to do this because, the companions or the Muslims at the time were divided into two groups: people who supported Ali and other people who supported Muawiyah because they wanted to avenge the murder of Uthman. Ibn Abbas went with the local sighting because Muawiyah was, deep in the conflicts. He had dirty hands, and the Prophet was clear when it came to the sighting of the moon. Ibn Abbas decided not to take sides with Ali or Muawiyah because he remembered the Prophet telling the companions, whoever lives to see the calamity, he should distance himself from it and he shouldn't get involved in it. So he just went with a local sighting. And if he supported Muawiyah, he knew the people would follow him and do the same thing.
Exactly. It's right there in Sahih Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim and in Muwatta. And many of the other companions were angry at Ibn Abbas. They said, but what about what the Prophet said? Aren't you going against what he said? The Prophet said anyone. It's right there in Bukhari. A couple of the imams emailed me and said, Layla, how did we miss this? It's right here, the whole story. I said, I don't know. Who was your teacher? My teachers, this is when I learned this from Sheikh Morsi. SubhanAllah. It's right there in the book. The most authentic book after the Quran is Sahih Bukhari. Why y'all can't read? But then again, I know the problem. You got to read through the whole book. Because when Imam Bukhari put everything together, you will see a part of a hadith here, another part there, another part there. That's why you got to also look at Muwatta. The book Muwatta. Muwatta was written by the companions and gives more detailed story. Then you find it, the other part here, Muslim, the other part there. You got to piece them together. But Bukhari is so clear with this. When Ibn Abbas said that he was going to go with a local sighting, the other companions got angry at him. They said, but Ibn Abbas, you're going against what the Prophet said. He said, no, the Prophet said it has to be a reliable, trustworthy person. Muawiyah has dirty hands. He said, if I take his sighting, the people are going to think that I'm supporting him over Ali. And I would never support him over Ali. So I'm going to use ijtihad. I'm going to use my own judgment. Ibn Abbas used his judgment as governor of Medina. He used his judgment that day, that year, to go with a local sighting. That's it. That's it. But now, answer me this, brothers, with the fatwas. When Ali was officially established as the caliph, did he tell his people to look for a local lighting if they wanted to? Did even Muawiyah declared himself the caliph of Shams, did he tell the people to go with a local? Nobody. This was some judgment that Ibn Abbas did, which I support 100%. To keep himself free of the fitna, because he remembered that the Prophet said, you, my companions, the streets of Medina are running red with blood. You will fight against each other. For those of you who are living at that time, do not take sides. That hadith is in Bukhari too. The Prophet told the companions, when this happens, do not take sides. Stay in your house. Do not choose sides. Ibn Abbas remembered that hadith. He remembered the Prophet telling him that. So Ibn Abbas stayed in his home. And he was governor. He said, I'm going to stay in my home, which is Medina. And I ain't taking sides in this conflict between Muawiyah and Ali. He said, of course I support Ali. But if I sit here and say I'm going with Muawiyah's siding, you know what the people will do? These were the Mu'tazila and the Kharijites, guys. The Kharijites were the ones that caused this division. The Kharijites were in control almost here. Even Ali didn't have the freedom to do anything at this point in history. So you fatwa men out there, you famous, I'm telling y'all next week, y'all mock my word because people don't listen. I'm just the woman that they don't want to listen to. Okay? They're not going to listen to me. And they don't never listen to Sheikh Atlee either. Because Sheikh Atlee is the only one I know that preaches against this too in America. Okay? They ain't going to listen to him either. But watch when it happens next week. I want y'all to remember. I showed you the Hadith yesterday. It's on my PowerPoint. The Hadith is on my PowerPoint. That Hadith is also from Bukhari. It's in Muslim. It's Muwatta. It's Imam Ahmed. It's all over the place. But these men that y'all think are scholars, I keep telling y'all, they're just famous personalities that you women made famous because they trim their beards and look so handsome. And they speak with those nice accents. And they use big English words that they don't even know the meaning of. You sisters here in America made them famous. When these brothers don't know nothing, because like the prophet said, until you learn my sunnah, which are those hadiths, you will never understand that Quran. And those brothers do not know the hadiths. They probably don't know that this happened. Just like they didn't know about Ashura. They don't know. They don't learn the hadiths no more. They're learning how to sing the Quran. That's it. They make their own online so-called Islamic schools. And all they teach is what? Look at their curriculums. Arabic. My imam didn't specify, didn't stress Arabic. Alhamdulillah. May Allah bless him. And his ex-wife, Mukhtar's mother too. They stressed hadith. When I met Sheikh Morsi, hadith, hadith, hadith. Sheikh Atlee, hadith, but I want you to learn how to read the Quran in Arabic. Thanks to Sheikh Atlee, Layla learned how to read the Quran in Arabic. I can read in Arabic. But as a language, that ain't my I could care less. It's all about them hadiths. Okay? Everybody got that. So watch when the fitna start next week. Y'all know, go with a global sighting. And one thing that I do here at Sunnahfollowers, every year we put out, right now, of course, we don't take the testimony of Iran. Can anybody tell me why? Why is it that we don't take their testimony? If Iran says that they seen the moon, why is it that we're not going to accept what they say? Melium? Why won't we accept what Iran says? Melion, are you still in here? Anybody else? She might be awake. She's in school. Why is it that we're not going to accept the testimony of Iran? Can anybody tell me why?
The Shiites.
Exactly, because they're Shiites. We don't accept their testimony because their Aqidah is not. The prophet said it has to be a trustworthy, reliable Muslim. I'm sorry, if you don't believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, I ain't got nothing for you. Why is it that I'm not going to accept what the Nation of Islam say, although they don't do it like this anyway? Why wouldn't I accept the Nation of Islam, Mina?
Because they're not on the correct belief system.
That's exactly. Same thing. Farrakhan. Now, he ain't got nothing coming either. Okay? Morocco. Why is it that I wouldn't accept Morocco if they still doing it? Because I don't know. I'm going to check with Sheikh Morsi and see if they change. Why is it that we didn't accept Morocco before? Anybody know why? Their testament, because they calculated. Anybody that use calculations, we don't accept their testimony about the moon. Anybody whose Aqidah is corrupt, we don't accept that either. Anyone with dirty hands, as long as their hands are not dirty, we accept it. So if Australia said that they saw the moon, do they have dirty hands? No. We accept what they say. Usually the sun, the way the earth rotates, Australia, that part of the world is the first part of the world to either see the moon. And usually it's Australia. They usually see it before anybody else. And after them, the moon goes to over that Middle East part. That's how he ends up getting to Kuwait, Jordan, all them. Okay? Here in America, the West, we're the last to see the moon. For those of you who don't know, America, this part of the hemisphere, we're that western part of the hemisphere, we're the last to see it. But that's why I'll send out, usually it starts with Australia. We got some pretty good scholars there in Australia. They're usually the first. They'll get on the phones and let us know the moon's been seen or the moon has not been seen. Then the phones will get the buzzing for the people from that as the moon makes its way across. And then Sheikh Morsi will usually call me. I usually get the call around 3 o'clock our time. Sheikh Morsi will say, Layla, put out the email. Let the people know that the moon has been seen. It's been confirmed by the scholars, the shook, he said, what's that word? The shook in Australia, the shook in here, the shook in Indonesia, the shook here. And that's when I'll put the email out. All this stuff about looking for a local sighting, I'm sorry, that ain't the Sunnah. Everybody understand that? But when y'all see that fitna start this year, remember that hadith. And then to ask yourself, are these men really scholars? How come they don't know this hadith? Layla Nashiba does. Is it because she's a woman? Does that mean women are less than men? Or does it mean that women are smarter than men, maybe? Maybe a woman is more intelligent than men. And men just don't want to accept it. You never know. Hello. All right. Good job on that, Meleon. And I want you to remember that to the day you die. And when I die, you carry on with that. Okay. Let's put the next question up. I think we got one more question. Yes. Last question. This is a big one too. This is a big debate. Must there be 2 witnesses to the sighting of the moon? And give me your dalil. Do we have to have 2 people to see the moon? And give me your dalil. Go ahead, Yasmin and Tariq.
No, it doesn't have to be 2 people. As long as that one person is a trustworthy and righteous person, like Ibn Umar, when he told the Prophet that he saw the new moon, the Prophet started fasting and told everyone else to start fasting as well.
Exactly. All you need is one. And what's the dalil? Ibn Umar. I gave y'all that hadith yesterday. And the source. It's authentic as heck too. All my stuff is authentic. I don't make up nothing here. Basically, I'm copying and pasting. Y'all know I got arthritis. I copy and paste the hadiths on the screen for you. And I always give the source. We got the hadith of Ibn Umar, how he was sent out to look for the moon. He saw it. He came back and told the Prophet, and that was it. The Prophet didn't ask for no witness. He didn't say, can I get a witness? So that authentic hadith is the dalil. One person is all it takes. One person seeing that moon, wherever he is in the world, as long as he's reliable. As long as he's trustworthy, he has no dirty hands. That means he has nothing to gain, nothing to benefit. Everybody understand that? That's Islam. That's the traditional Islam. You know, let me share this with the new Muslims too, because I meant to share this with Bethany and a lot of the new Muslims in that new Muslims group. You hear the term progressive Muslim. If you guys watch CNN News, or you guys watch ABC News, Fox News, where you see these famous speakers that y'all follow, y'all know who they are here in America. They the ones with the millions of followers that y'all love and listen to, with the trim beards, and the beautiful diction. And they're women speakers who speak with soft voices. They don't yell like Sister Layla. And they teach you how to have babies and how to get the psychology of life together. But they don't base anything on what Allah said or what the Prophet said about life and babies. Y'all love them. But when y'all see them on TV, look what they say. Let me do a cap shot. Let me show y'all what I have. Okay, let me show you what a caption is. If you don't know what a caption is. Okay, y'all see this? Since I'm working the cameras now. Y'all see how I put here on YouTube and Facebook, Layla Nashiba, director of Sunnahfollowers. Well, when you're watching these famous speakers in America that y'all like on TV, read the caption. They'll say, Sheikh or Sheikha so-and-so, progressive Muslim. Do y'all know what progressive Muslim means? These are not tradition. They don't even call themselves traditional Muslims. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the traditional Muslims, that he was asked, who are they? They are the ones that stay upon the way of me and my companions and those first four caliphs. These people that y'all worship and love are not traditional Muslims. They call themselves progressive Muslims, which means they've changed things. Islam has changed. These are the Qadariya. Wake up, people. These are the Qadariya. And one thing about Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd that I do love about him, he's a man and he's speaking out against them. He's speaking about out against these progressive Muslims here in America who y'all follow, who y'all think are sheikhs and sheikhas. They're progressive Muslims. They're Qadariya. Subhanallah. They don't even call themselves traditional Muslims. Well, guess what? I'm a traditional Muslim. Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli is a traditional Muslim. Sheikh Mustafa Abu Attayib is a traditional Muslim. Y'all understand that? Abu Usama Tahabi is a traditional Muslim. Mukhtar Ibn Mutawaf Abdul Shahid is traditional Muslim. Y'all understand that? We're traditional Muslims here at Sunnahfollowers. We stick to and adhere to the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of those companions. We ain't no progressive LGBTQ supporter. You ain't gonna see us sitting in the White House celebrating Thanksgiving with no president like you see them people doing. You're not gonna see us joining hands with the LGBTQ and the Hindus talking about we all believe in the same religion. We worship the same God. You're not going to see it. That's progressive Muslims. That's what they call themselves. That's what they are. Don't confuse us. We don't look alike and we don't speak alike. Sorry. My voice, Abu Sama's voice, Kareem Abu Zayd, Sheikh Atli, Mukhtar, we straight to the point. We don't sugarcoat. We shake your heart because we tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Difference between traditional and progressive. Don't confuse the two. Everybody understand that? So watch those progressive Muslims come out next week. You will see them on CNN. They always have them on CNN or announcing that we Muslims are beginning our fast this year. Yeah. And isn't it amazing that the Jews are doing their Hanukkah too? Last time it was Christmas, Islam and Judaism together. And they'll have the little thing, progressive Muslim. Pay attention to that, guys. You won't see Layla on CNN News. They wouldn't put me on there anyway. They'll call me a radical, fanatical, crazy Muslim. I'll take that. I'd rather be a fanatical, crazy Muslim than to be sitting up in the White House as a progressive Muslim, compromising Islam, sugarcoating it and trying to get the Kafirs to accept me. SubhanAllah. Wake up, people. All right. So, mashallah, you guys did good on this quiz. And I want you guys to pay attention, get more observant during this month. Look at the people who are following, who are celebrating Ramadan the way that the Prophet and his companions did. And like I said, I'm going to play that video tonight after this class. I'm going to play the lecture that Sheikh Abu Usama gave for those of you who missed it. He talked about how the companions prepared for Ramadan. And I want y'all to listen to that so you can prepare yourselves. But for now, let me go into the lecture. Lecture's not going to be long. Today, I'm going to answer the question that a lot of the new shahadas asked yesterday. Give me a second to put it on my screen. It's only about 6 slides. So don't worry, it's not going to be long. Hold on. It's just 6 slides. Who is obligated to fast? That's just 6 slides. This is the question that you guys asked yesterday. Bethany and Abdul, you guys in that room on Facebook. And I had a couple of people on YouTube ask this too. Here it is. Let me put it up on the screen. Can y'all see it? We're going to talk about the essentials of fasting and who are the people that's obligated to fast. I want you guys to understand, just like I taught before, there's pillars of faith, there's pillars of practice, there's pillars of tawheed. Well, there's pillars of fast too. The fast has 2 essential pillars that must be fulfilled in order for your fast to be accepted. And the first pillar of the fast is you have to stay away from anything that will break your fast. Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, eat and drink until the white thread becomes distinct to you from the black thread of the dawn. Now, let me tell you what some of the companions did. And we have some Muslims that do this too. When Allah sent down this verse, some of the companions were grabbing pieces of thread and trying to see if they can see, the light thread from the dark. And the Prophet smiled and he told them, he said, no. Allah is speaking about the black of the night and the white of the day. In other words, when you guys look out the sky, up at the sky for Fajr, y'all see that white, how most of the sky is dark, but there's a little thread. When Fajr comes in, you will see a little light in the sky and the rest is black. That's the time for Fajr. And that's what Allah is saying. He doesn't mean grab some thread and go hold it up in the sky. He means look up in the sky when you see that the slimmer of white in the sky, surrounded by the black, that's when you know it's time for Fajr. So as Muslims celebrating Ramadan, we fast. We can eat up until Fajr. When the adhan for Fajr is called, that's when we're done eating and drinking and we begin fasting. So that's the first pillar. Stay away from anything that's going to break your fast after Fajr. The second pillar of the fast is your intention. Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning, they are ordained nothing else than to serve Allah, keeping the religion purely for Him. And the Prophet ﷺ said, actions are judged according to the intention behind them, and everyone will get what he intended. So we have to have intentions to fast. And the intention can be made anytime during the night before Fajr. Now, this is what I'm going to have all of you do, because you can also make one intention to fast for the whole month. And that way you don't have to worry about, Sister Layla, I forgot to make my intentions last night. When the month of Ramadan begins, when I send out that email telling you that the moon has been seen, and so Ramadan begins, in your mind, you will think, wow, we start fasting tomorrow. That's your intention. And you think in your mind, I'm going to fast, until the end of Ramadan. That's your intention for the whole month. You ain't got to worry about making another one unless you break the fast due to your menses or something like that, or you got to travel. In that case, you would renew your intention when you get back or when your menses is done. And we'll talk about that later in the month. Okay, but basically, your fast is not accepted without the intention. And again, some of the scholars, that's the voluntary fast, said the intention for the voluntary fast can be made anytime. That's based on the Hadith of Aisha, where the Prophet came to her home and wasn't no food. He started the fast. Well, we're not doing a voluntary fast. This is the Ramadan fast. The Ramadan fast, you have to have the intention the night before fasting. And you can make one intention for the entire month. And let me remind you, intentions are not said out loud. I repeat, intentions are not said out loud. There are some innovators out there who will tell you that you have to say, Nuwait to wanna sali, for salat. Nuwait to wanna sali salat dhuhr about our cuts far salat inshallah. We don't make intentions for the prayer. This is bid'ah. And we don't make intentions to fast either. Your intentions is a thought followed by an action. The simple fact that you get the email saying Ramadan begins, you say, wow, after Fajr, I'll be fasting the whole month. If the fact that you're thinking that in your mind and you're preparing yourself for that, that's your intention. Everybody understand that? It ain't no new way, none of that stuff that you hear these innovators say. Okay? And so that brings us to the question that many of the new Muslims asked yesterday, Brother Abdullah. And where's the other brother? What was his name? Begin with an M. It wasn't Malik. I can't remember his name. It wasn't Muawiyah. But anyway, he asked, who is obligated to pray? Okay, fasting is obligatory upon every sane adult, healthy Muslim male who is not traveling. And for a woman, fasting is obligatory upon every sane Muslim woman who is not on her menses or bleeding from post-childbirth bleeding. For the Islam Q&A, by the way, I do a live Ask Sister Layla live every Friday from 8 to 10. You can call in to our number and ask me your question, and I'll answer your question live for you on Fridays. This was one of the questions that we had last Friday at my call-in. One of the women who was interested in converting to Islam, she wanted to know, could she fast? If she want to, but I told her it's not going to count for you. You have to be Muslim. This is another thing. Another bid'ah. Bid'ah alert. These famous men and women that y'all see on TV, you're going to see them next week on CNN. Same people. The progressive Muslims, they call themselves. Progressive Muslim scholar. That's what they call. Progressive Muslim scholar. They'll tell you that there's nothing wrong with because the CNN news reporters always ask them, well, what about us? What if a Christian would like to come into your mosque and just observe what it's like to fast with you Muslims. Oh, we welcome you. We welcome the church to come and fast with us. We can hold hands and kumbaya, my Lord. After all, we're all the Abrahamic faith. A Christian, their fast is not accepted because they ain't Muslim. Again, what's the criteria? To fast, you have to be an adult Muslim. So I don't know why these masajids, these masjids will allow during our sacred month of the year to have a bunch of Christians or Jews or unbelievers, period, coming into the mosque, doing itikaf with us, fasting with us. My God, you destroyed our whole Islamic high. This is for us. Like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, our laws, our rules are for us, not for them. Subhanallah. But all these progressive Muslims, you're going to see it on the news next week. I'm telling y'all, the same people last year will be on there with their beautiful trim beards and their handsome smiles, and their big words, telling them, yes, it's okay. We welcome you into our mosque. We'll give you a tour. And if you like to fast with us, yes, no, no. That ain't how it works. That ain't how we roll. That's not how we traditional Muslims roll. And for a woman, your fast, you got to be Muslim and not be on your period. You can't fast or pray on your menses. What about people who are mentally insane? I'm going to go into detail about that during Ramadan because I know I have a lot of bipolar Muslims who follow me. Bipolarism seems to be a problem that's growing amongst the people today. I don't know if it's because of the food we eat or what. Okay, but for those people who are mentally insane, that means if you are bipolar and you are not taking your medicine and you have lost your mind, that means you don't know who you are, what's going on, the pen is lifted. But if you're okay, you're on your medicine, you're cognizant and all that, then you fast. The pen is lifted for the mentally insane and also developmentally disabled. Developmentally disabled do not have to do anything because they are just that, developmentally disabled. They got the mindset of a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or whatever. They don't know right from wrong. They don't have to do anything. Everybody understand that? If you have a high functioning, because some of the development disabled people are high functioning, like some of my clients were, they used to fast with me. I had some high functioning clients, who were Muslim because they came from Muslim families and they knew what Ramadan was and they would love to see me come to work. We fast in Ramadan's here. If you got a high function developmentally disabled child and that understands, that can read, write, understand and all that, because some of them are very high functioning, like my little old man that I was married to. He thought I was his wife, but he was high functioning. He used to fast with me too. Then it's okay. All right. And again, the children, the minors. Minors are not obligated to fast, but we try to make them fast, but they're not obligated. Also, people who are traveling, if you have to go out of town for your job, you have to go out of town, you don't have to fast. You break the fast. Elderly people. And we're going to talk about what an elderly person is, because a lot of Muslims think that elderly is determined by age. That's another misconception. Just because I'm 60 years old, I'm old, but I do not fall in the category of elderly. Yes, in fact, I'm 62. I'll be 62 this year. I'm an old woman, but just because I'm 62 does not mean I can take off my hijab. Oh, Lord, you don't want to see that because you won't even recognize. You'll be like, oh, whoa, whoa. A lot of Muslims here in America got the wrong idea as to what elderly means. We're going to define what elderly means in Islam. But for the true elderly people, they don't have to fast. Okay, and we'll talk about that in detail as to how Allah defines an elderly person. Women who are breastfeeding, if fasting makes your milk dry up, then you don't have to fast. You will pay the ransom. High risk pregnant women, I repeat, high risk. A lot of Muslim women think that because they're pregnant, they don't have to fast. This is another misconception that the men are telling you. You do have to fast. The only pregnant women that are exempt from fasting are high risk. If you're high risk, then you do not fast. Okay? And again, the fast is not obligatory on mentally insane or developmentally disabled people. In regards to the children, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, teach your children to fast and pray when they are 7. Make them fast and pray when they are 10. And we're going to go into detail about that too as Ramadan begins. But let me talk briefly about the mentally insane. The Prophet, here's my dalil, and I don't make it up. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the pen is lifted for 3 groups of people, which means they will not be responsible for their actions. The mentally insane until they become sane. Those who are asleep until they wake up, and the young until they reach puberty. There's the dalil. If a person is bipolar, they stop taking their meds and they start tripping out like this woman is in this picture. This is how the bipolar people act when they ain't got on their meds. This is how the mentally insane act. Okay? Then fasting is not obligatory upon them because they don't know what they're doing anyway. They're not in their right mind. Okay, y'all see that? And there's the dalil. Also for the children, they're not required to fast, but where's the hadith that says that you should teach them to fast? Well, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a man on the day of Ashura, because like I told you guys before Ramadan replaced Ashura. The Muslims used to fast. They were obligated to fast the day of Ashura. Fasting Ashura was an obligation until Ramadan. After Ramadan, the companions never fast the day of Ashura anymore at all. That's why I don't do it. But anyway, before Ramadan, the Prophet sent a man on the day of Ashura to the Ansar saying, whoever has spent the day fasting is to complete their fast. Whoever has not spent the morning fasting should fast the remainder of the day. We fasted after that announcement, and so did our young children. We would go to the masjid and make toys out of cotton for them to play with. If one of them cried due to hunger, we would give them the toy to play with. And this is the hadith. This is the dalil that I use when I tell you, sisters, the Prophet said, make your children fast when they're 10. If the day is long and your children are getting tired, let them play some Xbox. Let them take a couple of hours away from the fast to play Xbox. That'll make that an hour or 2 go by fast for them. So that's the dalil I use for that. When the children are fasting and they're not puberty, they start getting tired. Even your 6, 7-year-old, your 8-year-old, try to make them fast. If they get tired, tell them to go and take a break and play. Take a break not by breaking the fast. Take a break by taking their mind off of it and play a little bit of Xbox. Like the companions will have them play with a toy to take their mind off of the fast. Okay? That's my dalil for that. I don't make up nothing. And there's the Bukhari and Muslim. Most all these hadiths, Bukhari and Muslim. Now we're going to speak briefly about the elderly. I want y'all to take a look at these 2 pictures. Take a look at these 2 pictures. These are considered elderly people. It's not based on your age. Elderly is based on your physical condition. If it's too hard for you to get up out the bed because you get weak, because you're close to death. Look at this picture, this woman up here. This is the type of woman that doesn't have to wear a hijab anymore. If this woman took off her hijab, took off her clothes, walked out the door and stood naked, no man on this earth would desire her sexually. Instead, the man would look at her and say, oh, somebody get grandma and put her back in the house. That's elderly. Do any of you sisters in this Zoom room look like that? No woman on planet Earth wants to look that way. That's how Islam defines elderly. An elderly person is a person that is so close to death that there's nothing there. My mother is 86 years old. My mother still wears hijab. My mother still fasts. If my mother took that hijab off, she could stop some traffic in a good way. Brother Mukhtar's mother, she's in her 70s. Lord have mercy. You don't want to see her without no hijab because she'd have your husbands. Hello? It's not based on age, people. Look at Anissa. Anissa's 80 years old in our website. Very attractive. She can't take off her hijab. Her husband would kill her because she'd have all them crazy men at her job trying to get with her. An elderly person is a person that is feeble, shriveled up like this because they're close to death. Fasting is a hardship because it's hard to even get out the bed. I don't have to wear hijab because I can't even tie it on. That's an elderly person. You brothers out there, I want y'all to take note. And I ain't talking about Qatarians. I'm talking about brothers of the Sunnah. Stop telling women that because they 60 years old, they can take off their hijab. Look at Layla Nashiba. I'm 62. Can I take off my hijab, Sheikh Atlee? Sheikh Atlee would tell you, heck no. All right? It's not based on age. It's based on the senility. I'm close to death. Where if a man saw you naked, all he'd do is say, oh, poor lady, help her. That's an elderly woman. So I tried to get some pictures. That woman there in that picture, look her down here. This woman here, she could take off hers. She's old, feeble, she can't walk. And here's an elderly man. This man is so close to death, he got to have a cane to walk. He can't get to the bathroom. He wearing Depends. He got to have his great-great-grandkids push him to the bathroom. These are elderly people. And these people don't have to fast because fasting makes them weaker. The Prophet ﷺ said the fasting people, for the elderly, fasting makes them weaker. They can't get to the bathroom. They can't do anything. So they are allowed to pay the ransom. Okay? And also chronically ill people. You've been diagnosed with cancer. Okay? People who work in difficult jobs under harsh circumstances. You a fireman. And it's the heat. You got to break your fast so you can save lives. These people are allowed to do that. Okay? Does everybody understand that? So they pay the ransom. What is the ransom? And by the way, I got a note from Sheikh Atlee, Muhammad Saeed Atlee, for the people in South Carolina. Jamila, are you here? Jamila?
Yes.
Okay, Sheikh Atlee sent me a text message. He said that let me find it because I was asleep when he sent it. Okay, hold on. Okay, yes. He said that the fee is $8 in South Carolina. The ransom is $8 a day to $10 a day. It's anywhere from $8 to $10 a day in South Carolina.
Thank you.
So the minimum is $8. The maximum would be 10 for those people living. I thought so because the cost of living in South Carolina is cheaper than it is here in Ohio. If it's $12 for us, it's probably 8 to 10 for y'all, like he said. I figured that. But he said it's the minimum is $8, the maximum is 10 for South Carolina. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for sharing that with us, Sheikh Atlee. Okay, so, but yes, guys, let me put my screen back up so y'all can see the PowerPoint. I almost forgot to share that too. I'm so glad I talked about it. Hold on. So these people pay the ransom, which is you have to check with the masjid in your community because the ransom is based on the cost of living where you live. For where Sister Jamila lives in South Carolina, the minimum of $8 a day for each day that you can't fast. They pay that. And where's my dalil? Here we go. Ibn Abbas. Why do I use Ibn Abbas a lot? People ask. I tell you guys, status. The best of this nation is Abu Bakr. The second best of this nation is Umar. The third best of this nation is Ali. The fourth best of this, is Uthman. The fourth best of this nation is Ali. When Abu Bakr speaks, everybody else shut up. Can't nobody issue a verdict over Abu Bakr because he's the best. Umar, that's the rank of the Prophet's wives. When it comes to women's issues, the only one that can speak over them is the Prophet's wives because they know about women's issues better because they were his women. But other than that, we rank them. Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, Ibn Masud. These were the three companions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for, asking Allah to bless them with a deep understanding of the Quran. And Abu Hurairah, the Prophet asked Allah to bless him with memory and understanding of everything he said and did. After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, they all had their own schools. Ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, Aisha. They all had their own schools teaching Islam. Okay? Ibn Abbas wrote his own tafsir on the Quran. I'm sorry. Ibn Abbas out-trumps Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir was not a companion of the Prophet. SubhanAllah, he was one of the students of Ibn Qayyim, who was a student of Ibn Taymiyyah. I'm not going to take a tafsir of Ibn Kathir over Ibn Abbas. Al-Hasan al-Basri was the third generation of Muslims. The third generation of Muslims don't out-trump the first. I'm not going to take anything Hasan al-Basri say over Ibn Abbas or Ibn Umar or Ibn Masud. When it comes to women's issues, I'm going Aisha all the way. Women's issues, exception. I'm going to the Prophet's wives. I'm going to look to see what Aisha, Salama, and all them had to say. But any other issues, other than female issues, nobody out-trumps that first generation of Muslims, guys. So that's why I'm using Ibn Abbas, or I'm using Ibn Umar, or I'm using Ibn Masud or Aisha. Those are people's opinions I use so much here at Sunnahfollowers. I'm using either Aisha, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Masud, or Ibn Umar. Very rarely will you hear me say Al-Hasan al-Basri, Ibn Hajar. I never use Ibn Kathir. I don't have no need to use Ibn Kathir because I got the companions of fatwas. I got the companions of tafsirs. My teaching methodology is like Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay? Y'all get that? You have to know the hierarchy, the hierarchy, you know? That's why, again, stressing the sunnah. Imams, y'all know it. Imam Mutav did what he wasn't all about that Arabic, but he was all about that sunnah, that sunnah, that sunnah. Hello. All right. So, listen to what Ibn Abbas said. He said an elderly man is allowed to break his fast, but he must feed a poor person for every day. If he does this, he does not have to make up the days he did not fast. And there's the dalil. There's the source, rather. Also, Ibn Abbas recited the verse, and for those who can fast but do not, there's a ransom, which is the feeding of a person in need. And Ibn Abbas explained this verse. He said this verse has not been abrogated. It applies to elderly men and women who are not able to fast. Instead, they just feed one poor person a day. So if you are like these people in this picture, you are elderly. That means it's hard for you to fast. Fasting takes away your energy. It takes away your strength. You already can't even get up out the bed. You already can't make it to the bathroom. When you fast, you become weaker. You end up urinating on yourself. Then you don't have to fast, but you have to pay the money, which if like Sheikh Atlee said, if you live in South Carolina, it's $8 a day. Okay? Or if you're chronically sick, like Jamila will pay the $8 a day. Okay? And you don't have to pay it at the end of Ramadan. You have a year. By the way, we're going to talk about that. Allah is so merciful. You have until next Ramadan to pay that money. So don't worry about how I'm going to get the money. Wait till you get your income tax. Pay it when you get your income tax check. If you're a grandmother, get your sons and daughters to pay it for you. Hello. Okay? And so that's the same for those who are chronically ill. You know, they would pay the ransom too. Again, here's another one of the early scholars, but he don't out-trump Ibn Abbas either, but I threw him in here. He said what is meant by those who can fast but do not is the weak elderly people. How do we define elderly people? As being weak. It ain't about age. That's why I threw him in here. Weak. Elderly is not defined by age. Elderly is defined by weakness. Also the chronically ill. Also criminals who are sentenced to life imprisonment with hard work. They pay the ransom too, if they're able to. And that's a question that somebody asked. What if I'm not able to pay the ransom? Then don't worry about it. But try to be able if you can. All right? Okay. Now let's talk about the high-risk pregnancy women. This is where we lose it every year too. I want you women listening to me who are pregnant. Don't get all happy. Don't get all happy and giddy. I got pregnant. Alhamdulillah. You still gotta fast. The only pregnant women who do not have to fast is if your doctor, your Muslim doctor, your Muslim, M-U-S-L-I-M, capital M, period. Your Muslim doctor has said that you are a high-risk pregnancy. If you are a high-risk pregnancy, that means that your baby's life is in danger. You don't have to fast. instead you pay the ransom too. But if you have a normal pregnancy, ain't nothing wrong with you. I'm sorry, sister. You got to fast. It's better for you anyway. That way you don't overeat and become a glutton and become fat. And your husband end up getting another wife on you after you drop the baby. Hello? Fast. Look at my Israel. Israel done had 3 babies on his website. And she still got her little 18-year-old figure. Because with all her babies, she was pregnant during Ramadan and fasted. She didn't gain all that weight. And her baby's all healthy. Alhamdulillah, handsome little Somali men. Hello, little babies. Alhamdulillah. Okay? So, high-risk pregnancy women. Where's my dalil? Because Sheikh so-and-so on YouTube said that I don't have to fast. Well, here it is. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, if they fear, the hadith says that, if they fear for themselves or for the baby, they can break their fast and pay the ransom. And they do not have to make the days up. Here's the hadith. Again, it's explained by Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas. Y'all need to start using his tafsir instead of using al-Qathir's. Okay? Ibn Abbas was a companion. Qathir wasn't. Subhanallah, he don't know better than Ibn Abbas. The Prophet prayed for Ibn Abbas to have a deep understanding of the Quran. He didn't pray for Ibn Qathir. He didn't know him. Ibn Abbas said, this is a concession for the elderly and also the pregnant or breastfeeding women if they fear for the child. He did not say all pregnant women. Ibn Umar did not say all pregnant women. Ibn Masud did not say all pregnant women. Aisha did not say all pregnant women. They all said if the woman fears, that's high-risk pregnancy. Back in those days, guys, those were the dark ages. Don't y'all know that women had miscarriages all the time back then? They used to miscarry all the time back then because they didn't have the medical treatment that we have today. They didn't live like we live today. Nowadays, it's so much easier to have children. Child immortality is not as high today. Women don't die in childbirth today like they did back then. So now we have technology. The doctor, he can look at you and tell you in the beginning of your pregnancy if you're going to be high risk or not. If you're high risk, then you don't have to fast. You just pay the ransom. I remember one of my ex-sister-in-laws, Imam Latif's daughter, when she was pregnant with my niece, Marjana. I remember she has lupus. Howard had lupus. She was a high-risk pregnancy. And I remember she tried to fast, and her doctor told her, no, you can't fast. No, you got lupus. You're high risk. She was on the bed most of her pregnancy. And I remember she called me one day. I was doing a class on Ramadan. It was during Ramadan. She said, Sister Layla, how am I going to make up these days? I said, what you mean make up the days? She said, I can't fast because I have lupus. She said, so after the baby is born, I'm still going to have lupus. How can I fast? I said, who told you have to fast? I said, Ibn Abbas said, you pay the ransom, Hawa. You pay the ransom. She said, oh. She said, Islam is so easy. She said, Sister Layla, why do Muslims make the religion so hard? I'll never forget that talk with Hawa. She said, Layla, she started crying. She said, Islam is so easy. Why do they make it hard and tell us we have to fast? I said, the pregnant woman who's fears for her baby. This is not just the opinion of Ibn Abbas. This was Ibn Umar and all of them. Aisha too. Y'all don't have to fast to make those days up. You pay the ransom. It's right here. Ibn Abbas. Now, Ibn Abbas had wives. His wives had miscarriages, like most women, a lot of women did back in them days. Ibn Abbas used to tell his wives who got pregnant again during Ramadan, he said, you don't have to fast. Instead, pay the ransom. Now, a lot of people read this hadith and they don't understand this is part of all these other hadiths I'm giving you. When you read the hadith, you will learn the history. Ibn Abbas had wives, and many of them had miscarriages. And they would get pregnant during Ramadan. He said, look, don't even try it. Don't even try it. Just pay the ransom. Because his wives were high-risk pregnancy women. He didn't say this was for all women. He was clear when he said this is for those women who are high risk. His wives were high risk. Here's Ibn Umar. Ibn Umar, here's my dalil. Ibn Umar was asked about a pregnant woman who feared, read the whole hadith, who feared for her baby's life. He said she is to break the fast and to feed one poor person a day. Also another hadith. Allah has relieved the travelers of fasting and have the prayer, and the pregnant and breastfeeding women who fear for their child the fast. See, I don't make these hadiths up, guys. I just know them and I teach them. But people don't want to learn from me because I'm a woman. My voice is too loud. I'm not soft and trying to appeal to your whatever. Okay? Allah commands a Muslim woman to make her voice strong and direct publicly. It's haram for a Muslim woman to speak softly like those women y'all listen to talk. I follow the Sunnah. Remember, I'm not a progressive Muslim. Remember that. Layla's not progressive. Layla's traditional. I'm the opposite of them. Okay? All right. So there's the dalil. You women who are pregnant, you have to fast. The only women that don't are those who are like my sister-in-law who were high risk. If you are not high risk, you better fast so you can keep your man afterwards. Hello. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover today. I want y'all to remember this. I'm going to quiz you tomorrow. I want you to know who are the people that are obligated to fast and who are the people that don't have to fast but have to pay the ransom. What is the ransom? That's going to be the quiz tomorrow. Also, remember, what are the pillars of the fast? The intention and to abstain from what breaks it. Make sure you guys share my YouTube channel to everybody that's every Muslim that is on your list, please. For those of you who are new, share my YouTube channel with everyone who is on your list. And please join this class every day at 6 o'clock from now until the end of Ramadan, because I, Layla Nashiba, through the grace and mercy of Allah, will help to get you through the month of Ramadan and make this month one of the most spiritual months of your life. And also, I want y'all to spread the word every Friday from 8 to 10 is the call in. Ask Sister Layla live show. And there's the phone number. Y'all take that number down. That's our call-in number for those people using WhatsApp. And that's our call-in number for those of you who use your cell phone. From 8 to 10 every Friday, call in and ask me your Islamic questions. If it's a question that I cannot answer, don't worry. I don't have a problem saying, hold on, I'll call Sheikh Morsi, Abu Atayib, and have him swivel in here in his chair, and he'll answer for you. Okay? So please spread the word too, that anyone, you can join on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and ask your question, or my Zoom room, or you can call in. Write that number down for the Ask Sister Layla Live. That's Friday from 8 to 10. Okay? All right, are there any questions?